Boom, we're live. My name is Patrick P.D. Delgado, the creator of the SPEAR and the AC Mars P's Life Principles. My co-host is my best friend, Kenny Candia, the ambassador of the SPEAR and the AC Mars P's Life Principles.
SPEAR is spelled SPPRR, which is an abbreviation for the 5 components of your life and how to manage each one individually. The first letter is S, and that's for spiritual. Next is P, and that's for physical. The next P is for psychological. R is for relationships, and the last R is for resources.
The premise of the podcast is education and fulfillment in each of those 5 components. The problem is there's a lot of misinformation regarding long-term success in any of those given components of your life. Applying the principles of your life SPEAR is the antidote to not knowing where to find long-term fulfillment. Remember, success is dependent upon the application of the information.
And because the principles that are taught here are unique every single week, this can't be found or duplicated anywhere else. So make sure to follow the weekly podcast and leave us a review and give us a comment.
Welcome to Your Life SPEAR podcast, episode 3. Today is November 13th, 2023. Today we're on the third component, which is the letter P in SPEAR. And today, Kenny, we're going to be talking about the psychological part of our lives, the mindful part of our lives, and how that affects our life. So Kenny, let's talk about your mind. Let's talk about what you've done in terms of the psychological component of your life.
Dude, your psychological is literally everything. So literally psychological for me, it's literally right by spiritual. So you have your spiritual and then you have your psychological, and those come together and that creates who you are as a person. You can't have one without the other. There is no spirit. There is no body without the spirit, and there is no spirit without the body. There is a spirit without the body, so I can just take that out. There is a spirit without the body, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Just having those two right together is very, very, very crucial to who you are as a person. And psychologically, that stuff, man, that would literally make or break you. Because if you're doing good in all the other aspects, but your psychological is failing, you would literally fail. And it's rough. It's rough to kind of go down that path of a psychological failure. And that's hard. And a lot of us go through stuff like that. But, you know, the stuff that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about a few antidotes to that. Things kind of stay away from, how to think, how to talk, how to speak, using energy to bring about good things in your life, to make you happier, and focus on that aspect just to make us happier in general, more fulfilled, right?
But before we get into that, we want to talk about something even more fun. So, yeah. Kenny, space travel or time travel?
Let's see here. That's a good question. Space travel, time travel. I mean, shoot, dude. Because, I mean, there's a benefit in each of those and, like, a downfall. If I was a time travel, I would go back in time and screw things up, or I'd go in the future and screw some stuff up. Yeah. Space travel. I don't know. Maybe space travel to go see how far what's out there, see if I could.
Right. So you're saying that, like, if you went into space, you could actually figure out how to travel through time?
I don't know, man. I want to see if there's other worlds. I mean, I know there's other worlds out there. I just want to find them. Be able to find them myself and be like, oh, what's up, guys? What's good? My name's Kenny. Don't shoot me.
What if you find that world, though, and it looks just like this world?
I'll go network there.
So it's like
go to the gym there.
The world is the world's greener on the other side, right?
Right.
So, okay. So you want to travel through space, and you think you can bend space and space-time travel. Got it. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed?
Wake up in the morning, check my son on the baby monitor. Yeah, that's the first thing I do when I wake up, see if he's awake, so I can either get some more rest or have to get this little man before you go to bed. Probably check my son on the baby monitor. Okay. That's the last thing I do before I go to sleep.
That's the first and last. Okay.
No, the last thing I do is I listen to scriptures on my audio.
Okay.
I listen to scriptures and then I go to sleep, pray, and then go to sleep.
Tacos or burgers?
Tacos for sure. Burgers is too much.
What kind of tacos?
Chicken tacos, man. Chicken tacos. Steak or chicken? Chicken mainly.
Okay. Books or movies?
Movies, man. What the heck, dude? Who would pick books over a movie? Unless you're
What
like,
about audiobooks?
audiobooks are cool. Unless you're like a Harry Potter fan and then like the movie doesn't do the book justice, I'll still watch the movie though.
How about podcasts? Yeah,
Podcast?
that's number one.
Yeah, boy. Let's go.
Podcasts. So now we were talking about earlier, just a quick question. If you could give one sentence of advice to a newborn, what would that one sentence be?
That's a good question. One sentence of advice. Stay in the gospel. Don't veer from it. Stay on the path of God. For real. For real, man.
What we need to do is talk about a one sentence advice for 5 of those, for each one of the components.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other
spiritual.
topic.
That's a spiritual advice,
Spiritual
which is
advice.
good because that comes first, and then physically, what would you recommend?
To my newborn, or to a newborn, one word of advice, one sensitive advice.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, just don't get fat.
Don't get fat.
Don't get fat, man.
Okay.
Don't get fat. There we go. That's my advice to the newborn.
Don't get fat. PHAT.
Yep.
Okay.
Capital PHAT.
Okay. And what about psychological? What piece of advice would you give?
Always love yourself, no matter what. Don't ever speak negatively about yourself. Always love yourself.
Boom. I like it. So, love yourself, and then your relationship.
Never gossip. Don't ever gossip. Don't ever backbite. Don't gossip. Don't do that crap. People will hate you. Man.
Resources.
Never give up on achieving your dream, and always work hard. I guess this is just off the fly, man. I don't have anything prepped. Like it could be tacky or cheesy.
We never prep anything. Maybe a couple things,
a
but
couple things. Yeah,
the majority of this is like improv. So,
yeah.
now if you could go back in time to tell your younger self one sentence of advice, what would that one sentence be?
To make sure
And
that
why?
To make sure that you serve a mission for your church. Why? Because literally, like, it could me personally, it probably would have been like the difference between me being dead or in jail or like successful. Either one of those. If I didn't serve a mission, or actually like do some sort of good service, profound service for my church or something like that. Because I had a rough upbringing, so I would say that. Just make sure you serve that mission.
So that would be, it sounds like that's one of your strengths when it comes to the 5 components. Because I believe that we're all born with different talents and gifts within those 5 components of your life in your life sphere. So some of us may have advantages. You may have been born into a more spiritual family that nurtures spiritual growth, right? And so you may have also been born into have physical limitations or advantages. Same thing, psychological, and with relationships, and also resources. So each one of us. So you obviously have a spiritual. I think you're a spiritual. You have a spiritual advantage.
I would think so, and that probably stems from my mom. My mom's a very, very spiritual woman. But we could compare it to like, okay, the way I'm living now and the people I hang around now, and I'm a real respecter of like self-made individuals that don't come from wealth and don't come from. But the thing is that the way out, the places I'm at, I think people I hang around, I kind of see compare, like if I compare myself to like, or my childhood and my upbringing to like other people's, it's a lot different. A lot of people are like more privileged here. I would think, which is a good thing. My children are going to be privileged. I want my children to be privileged, like to have a good life, to not have to worry about money or, moving from place to place or gangs or violence. Heck yeah, I want my children to be privileged, and they're going to be privileged, right? That doesn't mean that they're not going to work hard for their stuff. But I see a lot of people that have a lot of these advantages born into a life where they have a lot of advantages over other people or over where I grew up. That's great. That's how I want my children to be.
So we all want to comfort our children. We all want to keep them safe. But at the end of the day, why do we come to this earth? To have experiences and to grow from those experiences. And we've talked about having a testimony. So a testimony is something that needs to be tested in order to grow. So you're either growing or it's dying. We talk about physically. You know, your body is physiologically breaking down if you don't give it resistance, if you don't give it adversity. And so that's the same thing with the mind. And so when we seek constant comfort, many times we're putting off what could be one of our greatest blessings and benefits, which is the growth that comes from the growth mindset that comes from trials, tribulations, and adversities. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about today is the mind and strengthening the mind. And so it goes right in line with not just strengthening the mind, but connecting the mind and the body. And when you become one and you recognize that your body is capable of a lot more, and that a lot of the limitations we have are our own mental barriers, our own mental governors that we've put upon ourselves. So it goes back to clarity of what we believe, our belief system, who we believe we are, and what we believe we're capable of doing. And so that comes back to our mind. So our reality is based upon our thoughts. Our thoughts create our perception. Our perception creates what we see, and what we see becomes our reality. That's why the mind is so powerful. And so we've had these mental trials, tribulations, adversities, and that's really what gives us strength. Have you had any experiences, Kenny? What are your experiences with trials, tribulations, adversities, mentally, psychologically? I mean, what have you done to overcome them?
Yeah, I think I know everybody in this world, I don't care how privileged you may be or whatever, we all go through our psychological trials and adversities and problems in life. Life is designed to be tough, literally designed to be tough. And that's for everybody. I don't care if you're Kim Kardashian, your life's tough. You know, life's tough for everybody. So things if I were to think, I mean, we've all had a lot. We've all had a lot of examples, but things I've done to overcome the trials and tribulations that I've experienced in my life is just knowing that this is just a temporary experience. They're all temporary. They're all temporary experiences that they're eventually gonna go away. Time does heal all wounds, but what you do at that time depends or depicts how long that wound is gonna take to heal. Okay, and a lot of things I have that I really focus on is like my energy, my words that I use. Loving myself, loving others, staying away from drugs or any sort of alcohol or anything like that. Anything, because if you think about it, when people go into that mental state where they're just like going through something, they want to release. They want some sort of comfort. And a lot of people go to drugs. A lot of people go to pornography or some sort of like thing that's not real. It's not real. It's literally going to stop like in an hour or maybe even 5 minutes, depending on who you are, or, you know, a few days if you're doing harder drugs, and then you just go back right to reality. And all it does is just delay that time healing all wounds, right? So if you start doing drugs and you're going through something, you start doing stuff like that to relieve yourself, it's going to take now, instead of it taking a few months, it's probably going to take a few years, or it might take a few decades. Right? It's just going to prolong that time to where you can actually heal. But knowing that these things are temporary, I've always been able to get past things. And it's funny because I'm always like when I get past certain trials, I'm able to tell a story about it in the future. So I could tell you, a story now, but I'll save the time. But because my story of one of my tribulations, just it's a tribulation. It's just something that's happened. But so one of my mantras is always like, I'm able to tell a story about it after, and kind of maybe even laugh about it. But it always sucks. I feel like I'm always living in the story right now. It's always a new story that you're living in, Okay. It's always a new story that you're living in, a new story that you'll be able to tell later on in life. But that's all it is. It is just a story. It's an experience, aka story, I like to say. How about you, Patrick? Do you have any like specific?
Yeah. So I would say your story, just to kind of add to what you're saying, your story is what you're telling yourself. I believe that we all create our own life's rhythm. Whatever song, I believe life is like a rhythm, and we set that rhythm, that pattern, by the time that we wake up and the thoughts that go through our minds first thing in the morning and before we go to bed, and throughout the day, and what it is that we're focused on. And so our mind will go towards what we're focused on. So that's why I love the A.C. Marsp's life principle of clarity. The C stands for clarity, finding out exactly what it is you believe each and every day, who you are, why you're here, and what you're supposed to get out of life. And a lot of times, psychologically, your mind, I know like my mind, it tends to wander a lot. I have a super creative mind. So having the A.C. Marsp's and the Spear life principles has helped me balance my life and get more out of and be able to manage my success and progress over long term.
So there's a couple of things I actually wanted to like kind of touch base on today that have to do with our minds. And one of the main things is our energy. So the way we speak, the way we act, the way we think, all of that, it literally draws things to you, or it pushes things away out of your life. So for example, if I'm always complaining about life, I'm always complaining about there being traffic, or I'm always complaining about something happening, somebody cutting me off in the traffic, I'm always complaining, okay? What's going to happen as a result of that? Things are going to keep happening to you that are just annoying. They're going to keep on happening, because the things that you're literally complaining all the time about certain things, those things are going to keep happening to you, okay? The same effect happens in reverse. You are happy about something. You always compliment somebody. You have a habit of looking at the glass as half full and finding joy in any situation. And you're always vocally expressing it. You're thinking about it. Oh, great. Oh, it's this week. I'm going to get this done. This week, this is going to happen. Last week, this happened, and I'm happy about that. We're going to triple that this next month, blah, blah, blah. All these things, super, super positive. The same thing happens. Okay. And that's literally your energy. Things are always vibrating down to the molecular level. Like if you, let's check this out. We have a desk in front of us. Okay. If you look at through a microscope, what's going on in the desk, it's literally either breaking down. There's things moving in it. There's microscopic things like in the wood. Like wood is always doing something. Let's say if this desk is here for 100 years, it's probably gonna be decayed.
It's either growing or it's dying, right?
Yeah, right. It's either growing or it's dying. It's gonna be decayed because it's a 200-year-old wood. It's not gonna be brand new like it is now. It's gonna be decayed because over a small period or a long period of time, the cells in the wood are just gonna start. They're moving. They're developing. Right. They're dying. But it might take 300 years for this beautiful desk to start decaying. But dude, it's happening. It's gonna happen. Same thing with our words, with our mind. Everything has energy with it. So you speak energy, you get that energy back in return. What about you? I know, Patrick, you have a really good energy about you. Have you been able to like have an experience like that, like just negative stuff or positive stuff when it comes to your energy?
Yeah. So really, what it comes down to for me is your mindset, and your mindset is based upon what you do on a daily basis. I call them your dailies. So your dailies, your weeklies, monthlies. That has to do with your expectations. So let me give you an example. So your expectations for where you're at psychologically and mentally, and if you can start to measure your success based upon doing, say you do something difficult every single day, that's helping you grow mentally. So doing anything that's that you haven't done before, something that's difficult. So for example, maybe doing podcast episode 3, that would be something that would be, there's some growth from that. We've had to prepare this podcast. We've had to prepare for it and also publish it. And so doing that, there's some growth because you're doing something you haven't done before. So if you do something you haven't done before, you're growing. I mean, how else do you grow, right?
So another thing I wanted to touch base on, I totally agree with everything you just said. You grow from doing things you haven't done before, and you grow from getting uncomfortable. If you're comfortable all the time, you're probably not growing. Okay. Another thing that kind of helps me reach my goals mentally and psychologically is actually having a vision board. So a vision board, like, okay, you think of a vision board, you think of like, okay, cool, I wanna have a board, I wanna put pictures on it, and just look at it every day, and eventually those things are gonna happen. That's scratching the surface. There's a lot more that kind of goes into that stuff, and psychologically, my vision board, it has everything pertaining to spear. So everything on my vision board, there's a spiritual, physical, psychological, resources, and relationship aspect tied directly into the spear methodology. And on top of that, not only that kind of maps out your vision board on actually what you want. You want to make sure that you're not only looking at your vision board every day, you want to make sure that you're thinking about it through the day. I usually have mine on my phone so I can see it throughout the day. You want to hear your vision board. You want to feel your vision board, and you want to experience. You want to touch your vision. You want to incorporate all those 5 senses, and I'll dive into that in a second.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to interject and actually add a little more to that. So by doing that, you're releasing what's called a dose, and that's an abbreviation for dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. And so by doing these things that you're talking about, that's what's happening psychologically. So you're burning those neurological pathways, those new neurological pathways in that gray matter part of your brain. So those ion channels are going, and they're going to go to the path of least resistance, to the shortest distance. And so by doing something, creating a new habit over the next 30 days. So as you're doing your dailies, as you're doing your check marks, you're seeing your progress, you're visually seeing your progress, you're actually able to get a release of dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins as you continually track your progress over the long term. So that's the psychological aspect of your dose of finding long-term happiness and success in any of the components of your life sphere. You have to have those components, those psychological components. If not, we give up. I mean, that's how we hunt. That's why we're the best hunters, because we are able to outsmart our prey. But one of the ways we do it is by outrunning them, so we can track them over longer distance. So that's where we're at with our mind.
Yeah, man. So I just want to have like a take. I want you guys to have something to take away from this today. And if you don't have a vision board, go create one and make sure you tie it into the aspects of SPPRR, SPPRR. So what on your vision board has to do with each one of those aspects individually. And also that, I want you to make sure every day you're incorporating your 5 senses to experience your vision board, not to just look at it every day. That's one sense. You're seeing your vision board, but you want to incorporate all 5 senses into it. You want to see, you want to hear, you want to feel, you want to smell, you want to think about your vision board. You want to experience it as a whole. So, for an example, when I drive to the gym every day, so on my vision board, there's some nice cars on there, right? I drive to the gym every day, and there's a Ferrari dealership, a Lamborghini dealership. I mean, I see it every single day I drive to the gym. So now I'm looking at the dealership, and I can envision myself in there. I picture what it would smell like inside the car. I have a fast car myself, so I rev my engine a little bit, pretending like I'm actually driving in it. I'll actually go look at them sometimes in person, touch it, get in there, just experience it. Or if I want to golf on the nicest resort in the world, okay, I'm going golfing. I envision myself at the actual golf resort that's on my vision board. I'm thinking that I'm there. I go into the clubhouse. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm in the clubhouse now. This is what it smells like. It smells like food in there, or it smells like leather. You want to experience that. And actually going and touching your dream, going and touching that vision, go and experience that. If you hit a goal, or if you get some financial money, or if you save up for it, go and chill out the what's it called, the montage. Yeah. Go book a night for $800 and go experience it. Don't just look at it on your vision board every day. Go and experience the stuff on your vision board. Okay, go and look at new houses. Go walk around. Go do house tours. This is my house I'm here right now. Let's do all that and just make it a whole experience. Like, instead of calling it a vision board, call it an experience board, and experience everything on your vision board as much as you can, and it'll come in time.
Life is an experience, so this is each one of these. You should have an experience with each one of your goals, but like you said, using each one of our senses. So making it a sensational experience. When you make it a sensational experience, it's burned into your brain, that gray matter of your brain, so that those new ion channels, and now it has to do with expectations. So now your brain expects certain outcomes. And so when you have a belief system that's unstoppable like that, you learn from the failures, and you learn from, like in the book it says, the growth mindset of growing from trials, tribulations, and adversities are those things that we don't want to go through. But it's not about arriving at anything. It's about the process of the growth process, which is, just like physically, it never ends. It's ongoing. So we should keep our goals in stone and plans in sand.
That's right, man. So that's what we have for you today. The next podcast will be on the relationship aspect, which goes over our relationships in our life, how to strengthen those relationships, how to build new relationships, how to just be somebody that people love to be around and love to talk to you about things, and just how to experience that to gain more fulfillment in life, just to be a better person that people would look up to.